Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the episode number 18 of the Ball Talk Boyos podcast. I am joined once again, per usual, as the norm, the status quo with Joey Boreski. Joey, how are you doing today? I got nothing else. I used everything I got.
Doing fantastic, Topher, and while others are out there slaving away at their 9 to 5s, we're right here where we want to be, talking some ball. It doesn't get much better than this.
Exactly. No class today. Didn't have to work during the day, so Joey and I were like, you know what? It's normally, as I'm sure most of the people that watch know, it's normally Thursday night football when we're doing this. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been told that the bit about you being unemployed is one of our listeners' favorite part of the podcast.
Who?
It's my friend Dylan, the guy that I worked with over the summer.
Shout out Dylan. I'm glad that my struggle and my pain can bring you some enjoyment and some entertainment value.
How much worse did your struggle and pain get once I once again dismantled you in fantasy football? Regular season, of course, you owned me in the playoffs, but regular season, once again, was a tough matchup for the whatever your team name is called. I can't think of it.
Trophy Hog.
The Trophy Hog. Yeah, you ran into the Redeem team.
I appreciate you pointing out that I own you in the playoffs, but that just shows how bad and how piss poor the performance of my team was this week, and throughout this whole regular season, to be honest. That you're able to point out the positives because you feel bad because you take pity on my team now. The two-time reigning champ is getting pitied by other teams right now. It's an embarrassment. It's a laughingstock. I have not placed lower than 4th ever in this league. This is year 5. This is year 5. Never placed lower than 4th, and I'm bringing up the rear this year. Even though my team has not been that bad outside of a couple bad weeks, and outside of Deebo Samuel getting pneumonia, and getting pulled like that, you can't write some of this stuff. You can't write some of this stuff. But you know what?
You didn't even. Yeah.
It's okay.
You didn't even have many atrocious weeks.
Nope.
You just kind of had a lot of Young Hoku. Why is missing a field goal only -1 point in our league?
I know. I was shocked by that. He missed 3 field goals.
He missed 3, and he still scored positive points.
It shouldn't be the case. If
he
you're gonna
missed the same number of field goals that he made.
No, he made 1. He missed 3, I think.
Oh no, but he was 2 for 2 on extra points.
Yeah. I don't know how that's the case. I guess I'm happy with it this week, but
he missed 1 from inside of 39.
He's been bad.
Oh, it was blocked. It was blocked.
Doesn't matter. Still hurts my team.
And then we thought Bucky Irving was going to be the savior of your team after the noon games, and then Mr. Connor had something to say about that. But and no Nico Collins come back for my team. But the battle for who was going to be definitive last place, unfortunately, turned out to be Joey. But it's okay. We've been talking. We were talking off air, and we got some plans for the Trophy Hog team. We got some thoughts. We were cooking some stuff up. We were trying to find some trade partners for him to be able to make a couple of moves, and we'll see how things go down the stretch. I'm sure I've asked you this before, but on Sundays, what does your NFL consumption experience look like?
Well, as somebody who lives in Indiana, far away from all those I love and interact with, oftentimes Sunday consists of me driving, making that long, boring, often traffic-filled drive back from the Chicagoland or Milwaukee area down to the Indianapolis suburbs. But when I'm here, I have the YouTube TV account that I can sign into. And
Hashtag thank you, Joey.
Exactly. And because of the YouTube TV, I can put it up on my TV in the living room that's on the floor because we don't have a TV stand still. and split screen it if I want into 4 games, 2 games, 3 games. Or if I'm really focused on one game that I truly care about, I'll put the one game up. But that's my experience typically.
No TV stand yet?
No TV stand yet. I
Living that.
I have listen. There was I had an opportunity to get a very nice TV stand for about
Okay.
$50.
Okay.
But somebody wanted to pick it out, and
Okay.
so just haven't. That person has
Just
not
haven't
picked it
has
out yet.
has not been. Hey, it's okay. She can take her time. That's her right.
Yep.
Um, Speaking of games we might be watching solely, I think I've been thinking about it. I think this weekend I might. I think they play at noon, but I might strictly watch the Colts game this weekend.
Which that's understandable. It's gonna be a good game.
Um, Yesterday, I believe it was, the Indianapolis Colts announced that Anthony Richardson would be taking back over um, the starting duties, and barring injury, he would be doing so for the rest of the year. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that announcement?
Listen, I'm a big Joe Flacco fan, right? Ever since he played for my Browns last year, I've been a big Joe Flacco fan. Obviously, for our fantasy football league, the league winner gets a jersey of their choice. So, me being the Browns fan I am and the common sense man that I am, I picked a Joe Flacco Browns jersey because who wouldn't in that situation, right? And I've been a big Joe Flacco fan. I thought if the Colts were going to make the playoffs, the best thing they could do is start Joe Flacco, but it clearly is not working out. It's clearly not a good move, and putting Anthony Richardson back in now is the best chance for them to not only succeed in the future, but even possibly succeed now, just because of the fact that Joe Flacco has not looked any better than Anthony Richardson has. And with Anthony Richardson, you know for a fact, if things are clicking like they were in week 1, for example, you could win any game out there. The
Yeah,
things clicking is the issue, because that's not going to happen very often, but you never know.
they just it. My thought on like the decision to initially even bench him for Flacco is like, all right, this feels like it's trying to get there. He wasn't even that good week 1. But it's trying to get to the playoffs when like we probably need to sit back and reanalyze this team and be like, it's probably not, shouldn't be like in the cards based off
Yeah.
um, the defense. I don't think the defense is bad, but like I don't. It's not a playoff roster. If you look around the NFL, like with with their quarterback playing whoever it is playing the way it is, it's just not realistic. So I think they thought he would be able to help them get there in Flacco. And then I
Yeah.
think it turned into potentially Steichen didn't love his job security and was like, maybe I need to make the playoffs in order to keep my job,
Yep.
which I don't know if is true. But Anthony Richardson, I think, is just a classic case where he was clearly a project. Like, I don't think anyone thought he wasn't a project when he was being drafted. He clearly wasn't the most polished quarterback. I think he's 20. I think he's my age. I think he's 22 because I think his birthday is like 10 days after mine or something like that.
Yep.
And so he's young. He's 22. But I made a StatHead account, which is
Okay.
basically
Yeah.
football references. That's how, if you follow me on Twitter, that's how I've been getting all my stats as of late. So if anyone has any, if they see any performances on like a Sunday, or if they notice any like oh this guy, like when was the last time this happened, like just let me know. I'll figure it out. It's not same, Joe. If you see like Jameis Winston threw for 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions a noon game in Minneapolis. Like, when was the last time that happened? Like, just I got all the filters. I know a guy. But among the 39 NFL quarterbacks that have started at least 10 games between their first and second year since 2010, Anthony Richardson ranks 36th of 39 in passer rating and 39th in completion percentage among those 39 in their first 10 games. So Cleary's a project. Cleary's just not as polished as a passer as they would like. Um, So we'll see how that continues through the last. What are we on? Week 11? 8 weeks
Yes.
of the season. But
Yes.
like, what percentage chance do you give it that the Colts move on from Anthony Richardson come this offseason?
Well, I think these last 8 weeks are going to be very, very telling because if Anthony Richardson plays like he has or plays worse somehow, right, than he has,
Mm-hmm.
then they're moving on from him, I'd say. If he shows at least some signs of life and some signs of improvement, I think they bring him back. And I think, well, he's going to be back regardless, but I think that they continue to invest in him as their starter of the future. Otherwise, they might go out and draft a quarterback. I think they're going to draft a quarterback, honestly, regardless. It's just going to depend on how high they draft that quarterback. I think they might draft like a mid-round quarterback is what I'm trying to say.
I think they could, and like that's like a very. I don't know if drafting a mid round quarterback, like I think it'd be idiotic to take somebody in the first round. But I think the better path, if he shows development,
Yep.
or even if he doesn't, is if he just shows like a little bit of whatever they're looking for, and that could look a lot different to them than what it shows on the stats. But if he just looks a little bit better, then it's I think next offseason you sign an older quarterback to be the backup. I know, like, it's the Colts that are signing an aging guy, but you're not aging them to come into play. You're aging him. And I guess it's just trying to do the Flacco thing again, where you brought Flacco in to be a backup and he had to start a little bit more. But if you see a little bit out of Anthony Richardson of what, and I still think he can, like, we've seen the bursts and things like that. So I think there's no reason we can't see it again. It's
Yep.
just can he replicate it for a 8 week stretch? So
Yeah.
I think I'm not out on Anthony Richardson at all yet. Obviously, you knew he was going to be a project. He probably would have been someone that would have benefited from being drafted into a Michael Penix situation as
Yeah.
opposed
Oh
to
yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
situation where it was, where he could sit behind somebody for 2 years. Maybe it's probably going to be two for Penix because I think they can cut Kirko
Yeah.
after year two.
It's gonna be too
Either way,
nice.
yeah. But then like he can sit behind, and then we find out after that. So rooting for they all the comments seem like they haven't given up on him. Um, and if the Vikings decide they're done with Darnold and McCarthy, they can acquire him because it sure seemed like O'Connell really liked him when they were talking post game
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. The game that is happening tonight between the Commanders and Eagles, hopefully will be a pretty good game. What has been your pickup on each of these teams throughout this year so far?
Well, obviously the Commanders have exceeded everybody's expectations this year, right? I mean, Jane Daniels has played like no, there's no doubt that he's been the offensive rookie of the year this year. He's been
Yeah.
fantastic, and he's played like an elite NFL quarterback for the most part. Obviously, there's still some issues where you can tell he's a rookie sometimes, but a lot of times he looks like a great NFL quarterback with a bright future. And for someone who drafted him in Dynasty, I'm happy with that, right? I'm happy with that. But also, on top of that, though, we see the Commanders do have some talent though around him, like a guy like a Terry McLaurin, for example, who has everyone's known that he's been a good wide receiver for a long time, but he's never had a good quarterback. He has a good quarterback now. He's playing like an elite wide receiver, right? And just seeing the Commanders go out there and find ways to win week after week. Obviously, the Hail Mary versus the Bears was a fantastic moment, especially for someone who's not a Bears fan. If you're a Bears fan, which many people listening to this right now are, it's tough. That's tough luck.
We'll get to them.
But the Commanders had far exceeded my expectations, and everyone else I'd say as well. And then the Eagles, they do have their issues. You do see the issues here and there. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been very, very inconsistent, which is to some degree expected with Jalen Hurts because he's not an elite quarterback. But the Eagles have still looked like a really good team. Obviously, guys like Saquon Barkley, the backwards hurdle has been ridiculous. So if the Eagles just play to their potential, which we've seen them do a few times, we've seen them not do a few times, then they have a bright future, and they could have a very good shot of making a run in the playoffs as well. These are both teams that I think are going to be playoff teams for sure. Commanders, I don't see them going very far in the playoffs, to be honest. I think they are kind of a one and done team, but the Eagles, I can see them making a run.
One sec. Sorry, I'm trying to pull something up about Jalen Hurts since the uh, his last 5 games. Since they went on bye.
Mm-hmm.
Am I struggling to do this? But Commanders, I feel like um, I think they're legit. Like I know we saw Trev get a little upset when I said they were legit and he called them mid, but like I feel like as a Steelers fan playing them this past weekend, you would have liked for them to have been good. But yeah, they seem like a
Yeah.
legitimate team that has been um, it's surprising because I was someone that wanted Jaden Daniels um, to sit for a little bit. I
Yeah.
felt like it was better for him to take a little bit of a break, just take some time to get used to the NFL life, and he has not done that. So and it's been good because it's worked out really well for him, where he's been a very good NFL quarterback. Whether that has a lot more to do with his um, sorry, I'm still trying to get this pulled up. Whereas a lot more to do with like the system that he's in or something like that. But he's been very good in the last 5 games. Or I'll get to this in a sec. But yeah, in they've been a lot better. It sounds like a lot of people want to go to the Commanders.
Yep.
I think Kingsbury's someone that we could see get um, interest as a potential head coach
Yep.
next year. I'm not out on the idea. I thought I saw something that he might not want to do that, but I mean, we'll have to see with him. Jalen Hurts over his last 5 games has a 71% completion percentage. He's thrown for 1,000 yards. He's had 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So since the bye, I think he's playing more consistently than we probably think. The last 5 games, at least, which is enough of a sample size to say it's legit. Because I think the first 5 games of the year, it was a 67 completion percentage with 6 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So the
Right.
completion percentage has been good. It's just he was turning the ball over a lot, but he's having career high in completion percentage, career high in quarterback rating, and the second highest QBR of his career, or the career high in passer rating and the second highest QBR of his career, only behind that 2022 year.
Yep. I mean, he's a good quarterback when he's on. He's a little bit streaky though, and there's going to be times where he is a little sloppy with the ball, might cost you some games. But when he's on, he's good enough for them to win.
I think I might be a little higher on Jalen Hurts than you might be, which is fine. I mean, he's had he's in the last 6 games he's thrown 1 pick. You can go back another game. The first 3 games of the year were bad, but I think since then he's been um, a lot more consistent. But do you think either of these two teams are Super Bowl teams?
I could see a world in which the Eagles are. I don't think the Commanders are this year. No,
No,
I
just a year
think
away, a year or
they're
two.
they're a year. They need some playoff experience. With Jaden Daniels needs playoff experience. They need playoff experience like together as a unit, and they really don't
Mm-hmm.
have that. So I just think give them a year or two, they'll be right there. The Eagles though, they could 100% be a contender this year.
This upcoming Sunday, we get the first of 2 matchups between a couple of division rivals. The first of which, Packers Bears. This week, the Chicago Bears announced that they would be moving on from offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. I forget the name of the guy. I think he's a former Panthers offensive coordinator. It's their passing game
Seahawks.
coordinator. No, I'm talking about the
Oh,
new guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a former. I think he was Panthers offensive coordinator, and I think he was the current like Bears like passing game coordinator or something. But what did you think about that decision to fire OC midseason?
Yeah, I mean, the hire of Shane Waldron to begin with was something that was not seen as a great move necessarily. I mean, we have a Seahawks fan, for what it's worth, that we're friends with who was laughing at the Bears for that. And so, I mean, Shane Waldron clearly was not the fit. There was issues almost immediately with his play calling, and everything of that sort. So I think it is a necessary move to move on from him. The Bears, though, do have issues that go far beyond just their offensive coordinator not being very good. And I think that while they made the right move here, it can only do so much. It's like you ever see, you know the commercials for like that super strong tape that like goes over those holes that are like spewing water out of them, and it like holds the water in. Yeah, it's gonna do that maybe, but do you want the tape on your boat when you're going across the ocean? No, no, you don't. You don't want to trust that tape. It'll do good for a little bit, but you're not trusting that entirely. Otherwise, things will be made out of that completely. So it'll help, but it's only gonna do so much.
The Flex Seal commercials.
Yes, that's what it is.
Um, yeah, it feels very much like it's a last ditch effort on the um, part of Matt Eberflus to try and save his probably already lost job.
Yep.
Seems like they won't fire him midseason, even though they probably should have already. But yeah, we'll see. Another one of the stats that I was able to pull. This one took a lot more research because there's unfortunately not a filter for losing your head coach after the first year in the NFL. But rookie quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round started more than 8 games their rookie year, and their head coach got fired after their rookie year since 2010.
Yep.
That list of quarterbacks is Justin Herbert, Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Marcus Mariota, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold, Brandon Weeden, Bryce Young, Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, Blaine Gabbert, and Josh Rosen.
13 guys.
Do you think we expect Caleb Williams to be added to this list?
Caleb Williams will be on that list at the end of this year. I think unless the Bears have some miraculous turnaround and unless they make the playoffs, frankly, they're not. He's not. Eberflus will not be back, and I think that it'd be the wrong move to bring him back almost regardless. But I think there's no shot of Eberflus being back unless they make a miraculous playoff run.
Which I don't think is happening.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, at this point, I thought the Bears were going to be better. The defense is legit. It's just the offense is bad.
Yes.
Obviously, this stat that I listed is it's just like what's happened in the past. It's not necessarily like predictive, but I think it's safe to say that if Caleb Williams is not of the Justin Herbert part of this stat, then it's a disappointment. Because all of these other guys, like sure, like you've had Jameis, we love, has had a fine NFL career. Baker left and resurged a little bit. If he's Daniel Jones, not good. Marcus Mariota, fine NFL career. Trevor Lawrence, TBD. Sam Darnold, TBD. But like any of the other guys, there's 2 guys that you'd probably hope Caleb Williams could turn into.
What, Justin Herbert and
Baker.
But even if he turns into Baker, I feel like that's a disappointment for what they expected.
I think Baker's a legit NFL quarterback.
I think he's a legit.
I think when it's all said and done, he has the second best career of any of these guys on this list.
Probably.
Like Mariota's probably an NFL career. Oh, they both won Heisman's.
Yep.
Right, Mariota and Baker. But like it probably has to be. He probably has to be better than Herbert and Baker in order for Bears fans to be happy.
And I just at this point, it could happen and it might happen, but at this point, it's just hard to envision that happening.
Mm-hmm. And a lot more like I looked at the like quarterbacks that kept like the same head coach into their 3rd year, and like a lot more of like, let me pull up the list. I have it right here. But a lot more of the guys that even kept the same head coach into their 2nd year were more likely to have had a better career than those that got fired after their first. The list of guys that kept their head coach into the 3rd year. Cam Newton, Kyler Murray, Andrew Luck, C.J. Stroud, Mac Jones, exception, bad. Carson Wentz, injury. Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, Teddy Bridgewater, Joe Burrow, and then some bad guys at the bottom.
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, that's there's a lot of better names on that list for
More of
sure.
those guys are going to hit than any of the guys that lost their coach after year one.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, Mac Jones just wasn't that great of a quarterback. To be fair, I mean,
Mac Jones'
I guess
rookie year
we'll
was
see here.
really good.
Yeah, it was good.
He's
But
not good.
I guess we'll see this week for the Jaguars. But
We already saw.
he had Belichick. Obviously, that was going to be the case.
Yeah, different.
So it's different. But I think it is to some degree it does come out of coaching quite a bit, but also, I mean, there's something to say about the fact that there's these quarterbacks that aren't great on this list, whose coaches probably get fired in part because the quarterback isn't great. So it's kind of tough to distinguish how much that's on the quarterback, how much that's on the coaching. But it would look a lot better and be a lot better for Bears fans if they had a coach to be excited about and could have Caleb Williams under the same coach for a couple of years.
I think at this point you're just concerned about his development. Like, does his
Yeah.
development get stunted by the firing? Even if it's obviously Eberflus defensive-minded head coach, but even if you bring in an offensive-minded head coach, is his development already stunted because he has all of these old tendencies that need to now be broken under the new head coach and assuming offensive coordinator, depending on if this guy sticks. But I think if they turn it around the last whatever weeks of the year, then we're a lot less concerned about all of it. But it's kind of just a TBD when it comes to Caleb Williams and the Bears. There's another noon game between two division rivals, as we were talking about. Ravens versus Steelers. What have been your read on those two teams this year?
The Ravens just more of the same from the previous few years, right? I mean, they look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Lamar Jackson's an elite quarterback who obviously is going to, if he wins an MVP here or wins a Super Bowl, he's going to be in some conversations that a lot of people are very uncomfortable with in terms of how great he is all time. But he's proven time and time again that he's a winner and he's a really good quarterback. Obviously, there are his issues, but he's a really good quarterback.
He's a Hall of Famer. Now.
Oh, yes.
If his career was done, I don't know if there's. It's actually probably something I can find out, but I don't know if there's ever been a two-time MVP winner not make the Hall of Fame.
Right, he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then with the Steelers, obviously they've very much been a unpleasant, because I'm a Browns fan, surprise this year. Shout out Trev. But the Steelers just their defense has been more of the same, what we expect year after year. But the offense, firing that war criminal Matt Canada and bringing in another war criminal in Arthur Smith, but a better war criminal. I don't know if we're ready to have the conversation, but
potentially.
But things seem to be working. I mean, Justin Fields was 4-1 as a starter, and Russell Wilson's playing like an absolutely
he's back.
Elite quarterback again. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, I'm starting Russell Wilson in the fantasy league this week.
Oh,
it's
yeah, no, Russ has revived his career and might have re-put him on a path towards potentially being a Hall of Famer.
If the Steelers go on and win a Super Bowl this year with Russell Wilson as the quarterback, he might be a Hall of Famer, which is crazy because he was on that path for a while where you could see okay, he's probably going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Steep fall off, but I guess it might have just been a valley. He might be going right back up. And I mean, Russell Wilson being talked about as a good quarterback and in a positive light in the Lord's year of 2024 is something that was not on the bingo card. But hey, I mean, if he keeps playing the way he is, and the defense keep playing the way they are, and George Pickens keeps his head on, sky's the limit for the Steelers.
I might have to look into NFL quarter because his 2022 season was really bad. Last year wasn't as bad as their record will show. It was still the second worst year of his career, but he's completely revived all of it this year. And hey, my narrative that he should be starting over Justin Fields doing pretty good, because I thought it was just a matter of time before he came back to being starting. Just because I just gut feeling he was going to be better once he got out of Denver.
Yeah.
So, are either, we obviously didn't ask about the Bears, Packers, but are either of these teams Super Bowl teams?
I mean, I think if either of those teams won the Super Bowl, I would not bat an eye. I would not be surprised whatsoever. I think they're both in the same tier, to be honest, as the Eagles. I think those are three teams that are all pretty similar right there. All teams that you could see winning the Super Bowl, you could see being a first-round playoff exit. Like, you just never really know. But they are both very, very solid teams that could make a Super Bowl run.
I've been very vocal about my questioning about Lamar as a passer, and because I get a little weird, like I feel like I've worried about him in the bigger moments, like end of games. Could he lead them down the field? And he does some funny things with this, like he throws at some weird angles, and his feet get a little happy as he's going to make throws. But this is the list of quarterbacks that have a 10-game stretch in which they throw for 2,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 2 or less interceptions with a completion percentage of greater than 68%. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees and Lamar Jackson are the only two to have a stretch like this to start a season. So, the couple of quarterbacks on this list that are expected to make hopefully a playoff push for their respective teams. That leads into kind of the calf talk debate of the week. Something that I talked about with Quinn, Connor, and Gabe. And I can't remember who else was around, but I was questioning how like definitively Lamar was like the MVP front runner. Believe it or not, I was wrong. He is definitively the MVP front runner. But who do you think is currently second in the NFL MVP race?
Second right now, it's got to be Josh Allen, right? Just because Josh Allen has at times put the Bills onto his back. Josh Allen is another guy that is inconsistent at times because he's a little bit. I mean, we've seen some of his sloppy tendencies come back the past few weeks when he was so good about managing not to do that early in the season. But Josh Allen's got to be number 2, right? And I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, just because of how good the team is, and if this guy just turns things on and the team goes 16-1, 15-2, even 17-0, Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the conversation.
All right, nope, you're getting cut off. We'll get into it.
I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be. Trust me, I hate him as much as the rest guys.
Don't worry, Patrick. You're not safe. Don't think the stat head wasn't firing off on your ass this morning. Yeah, Josh Allen's been pretty good this year. Only 4 picks, which is big time for him. For a guy that's had turnover issues throughout his career. But he's been legit. All right, fine. We'll just go straight on to that game. Chiefs-Bills at 3:25, I believe their game is this weekend. In the Super Bowl era, like that one, among the 23 teams that have started the season 9-0, the 2024 Chiefs, in the Lord's year, this year, rank 17th in passing touchdowns and tied for second in interceptions thrown. This is also the fewest passing touchdowns through 9 games for Mahomes since he took over as a full-time starter. The Chiefs as a whole have the lowest yards per carry through 9 games that they've had since Mahomes took over as a starter. They have the lowest total yards, and their defense has allowed the second fewest total yards this season. You want to know what that means, Joey?
What does it mean, Topher?
I'm putting the Chiefs on fraud watch.
Okay, I mean, listen, I'm not upset with that. Their defense is so good that you could see them winning. They've been winning even with the offense playing the way it is. And listen, I would love nothing more. Actually, there's a lot of things I'd love more, but I would love a lot of things less than the Chiefs having a first round exit. If the Chiefs have a first round exit, I'll be a very happy man, right? Chiefs don't make a Super Bowl run, I'll be a very happy man, right? But at the end of the day, it's Patrick Mahomes.
No.
I mean, he's gonna do something Mahomey where he's gonna do. I mean, we haven't seen Chris Collinsworth glaze him enough this year. That's due. That's due. We're due for Collinsworth glazing the heck out of Mahomes.
If this is the Patrick Mahomes, statistically, that we're going to get over the next 10 years of his career, I do not want to hear his name mentioned in the same sentence, paragraph, paper, book as Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Or Peyton.
I don't even want to hear him. Or Peyton, or Drew Brees, or I'll throw the lunatic in it. Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to hear any of it. I don't want to hear any of it. None of it. Yeah, Drew Brees, dude. Don't do this. We're not doing.
Look, I'm a huge Drew Brees fan. But
oh my gosh.
Did Drew Brees even? 1 second.
We're doing Drew Brees disrespect on this podcast now.
I love Drew Brees. Drew Brees was never an NFL MVP.
And
we don't have to get into this, but
look at the stats, Joey.
Stats?
Yeah, the things that don't care about your feelings.
No, it's facts. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Neither does stats.
Drew Brees was slinging it.
The only reason he never won an MVP was because he played at the same time as these other guys I just listed. That's the only reason he did it. And he was just steady Eddie.
I want Drew Brees to be better than Patrick Mahomes so badly. So badly. But he's not.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
Patrick Mahomes has been an MVP. Patrick Mahomes has won Super Bowls.
I don't care. I don't care.
Don't care. Didn't ask. Plus,
I'm just saying, if this is what we're going to get for his 15, 16, 17, 18, the rest of his career is going to be numbers like this, I don't want to hear a peep. If he turns it back on, sure, go ahead. But I don't care.
I guess I do see what you mean to some degree by the fact that if he is not playing at an elite level for a long stretch of his career, then he shouldn't be in the conversation. I think just he's accomplished so much in terms of just pure accomplishments.
And I'm not even trying to argue. Like, he's a Hall of Famer, obviously. Like, he's the best quarterback of this generation, but we can't put him with the all-time greats if we're going to get sorry performances for regular seasons when you're never seeing any of these guys do it.
That's fair. You know, I will give you that. I will give you that. Like, I don't want to be on the side of Mahomes' defender here. That's not the side I want to be on.
You're starting to sound like it a little bit.
I know, and I hate it. I hate myself for that, but it's just the way it is.
He had a year, Drew Brees. Look at what's this? 1, 2, 3, 3 straight 5,000-yard seasons.
Oh yeah, no, he was one of the best guys in terms of how many passing yards get year after year. It'd be him, Stafford to be up there. Jameis Winston had a couple years up there. I mean, it was good, yeah.
He was only a one-time All-Pro, but he was the 2-time Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He was All-Pro second team. Both times he won Offensive Player of the Year. Who won MVP these years? He wasn't even in the MVP voting one of the years that he won Offensive Player of the Year. Like, no votes received.
which is absurd.
And this year, Aaron Rodgers won MVP.
I mean,
Oh my gosh, his stats are better. How did
I'm sorry.
that doesn't make any sense? How did no? Just let me walk you through this. Aaron Rodgers received 96% of votes for MVP in 2011, right? Drew Brees got 4%. The Offensive Player of the Year voting, Drew Brees received 86% of the votes, and Aaron Rodgers received 14.
So some people want Aaron Rodgers just to get both.
But why didn't he just get both? If it's a quarterback, we're debating for Offensive Player of the Year. What was the Saints record that year? They were 13-3. This is ridiculous. What happened in 2008? What? Yeah. He was Offensive Player of the Year, but received no votes for MVP. Are you not as outraged about this as I am? Chad Pennington received MVP votes this year.
Chad Pennington. Marshall
Michael
Legend, shout out.
Michael Turner, kind of a dog. James Harrison, CJ 2K.
CJ2K.
What was their record this year? This is just me talking to myself, and that's okay. But what was their record this year? Oh, they were 8-8. That one's a little more excusable. Back to Bills Chiefs. A little Drew Brees tangent, as we tend to do. But what do you think about the Bills? We didn't talk much about them.
I think the Bills are a very solid team. I mean, they don't seem to have too many weaknesses. It's gonna depend on how Amari Cooper, I think, steps up because it's been not great so far with the Bills. Obviously, he's been injured. That's been the main issue there. But if he just steps up, I think they'll be in a good spot. It's just gonna come down to how Josh Allen's playing at the end of the day, though. Because if Josh Allen is on, they could 100% be Super Bowl champs. And I would not be surprised at all. If Josh Allen is off, they're losing their first playoff game. I mean, I think I'm happy we're talking about this because it's really shown me that there's so many teams right now. We've talked about 4 teams right now, right? In terms of the Steelers, Ravens,
Chiefs, Bills.
Bills. No, who was the other one? There's
Eagles.
The Eagles. Yes, Eagles. There's 4 teams that could make a Super Bowl run, and I wouldn't be surprised, but could also flame out at any time, and I wouldn't be surprised. It's just gonna.
Sure.
There's so many teams that are solid enough this year that it's gonna be fun, and it's not like a runaway favorite. I mean, people say the Chiefs are a runaway favorite, but there's some glaring weaknesses for the Chiefs right now. So it's gonna be a fun postseason of football.
Yeah, the AFC is going to be pretty fun, and the NFC is probably just a little top heavy.
Yeah.
Where it's actually I could see the NFC being really entertaining because you got a team like the Packers that can. I mean, we saw them do it last year.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are frisky.
Hey, the Cardinals have some more life than people thought.
If they were
high on them. Yeah.
If they were playing this week, they would be on this list.
Yeah, no, they've been
because
solid.
they're legit. The Giants got the rest of the NFL right where they want them. Them boys.
Yes.
Once Trey Lance starts starting,
didn't Trey Lance get in the game and throw an interception?
Immediately. Anyways, on to a couple other AFC teams that they're probably more in like the Commanders range of the AFC. Bengals versus Chargers is our Sunday night entertainment. What do you think of both of these teams?
Chargers, pleasant surprise, of course. amazing to see J.K. Dobbins having a career renaissance this year just because of all the horrendous injury luck he has had over the course of his entire NFL career, basically. Um, and the defense has been good. Like, I mean, it just shows what a difference coaching really does. I mean, I'm not sure how Jim Harbaugh is doing it without cheating. I'm just going to be curious to see the way that he's cheating in the NFL. I'm just playing.
Everybody
I'm
was
playing.
cheating.
But I mean, like, it shows what a difference coaching can make, and the Chargers are good. Justin Herbert's playing like an elite quarterback. I mean, if they just had some, I mean, they're clearly a few pieces away from being a Super Bowl contender, but you see the makings of a team that has pieces in place,
They've got the
fundamental
culture,
pieces,
I think.
and the culture. Like, they could win a Super Bowl, and I would not be shocked in a couple of years.
I think if they
Um,
go out this offseason and spend on a wide receiver,
that's the big thing.
like if they get T. Higgins, sounds like he's not going to be a Bengal.
Yeah, that'd be very, very good. Very, very good. So I mean that'd be ideal.
Unfortunately for the go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about the Bengals. Go ahead.
Me too.
Oh, I was going to say, unfortunately for the Bengals, though, who are 4-6.
I think so. Yes.
Um, they, how do I put it? If they were 7-3, Joe Burrow would be MVP right now,
Yes.
and Jamar Chase would probably be the offensive player of the year.
Yes.
Jamar Chase, wide receivers to start the season with a 10-game stretch with 10-plus touchdowns, 66-plus receptions, and 980 yards. Randy Moss did it twice. Calvin Johnson, Marvin Harrison Sr., sorry, Joe, Devontae Adams, Torrey Holt, Cooper Kupp, Jerry Rice, and Jamar Chase this season. So off
What
to
a list. What a list.
yeah, no, some solid names on that, but they're off to a great. They're offensively, they're off to a great start. Unfortunately, the defense stinks. So, what percentage odds do you put it on them finding their way into the playoffs?
Bengals, 30% maybe. That might be nice. I just don't think. I just don't think they make the playoffs this year. I don't think there's much of a shot they make the playoffs this year, to be honest. I just think that their defense has too many glaring errors, and their division's a little too tough. I just think it's gonna be a large uphill climb. And
They are 4-6, right?
yeah,
Go ahead, continue.
I mean, frankly, if the offense is playing at this elite level, where Joe Burrow would be the MVP conversation, possibly the MVP, and Jamar Chase would be the offensive player of the year more likely than not, and they're 4-6 with that, it's gonna be tough to see them. Even if they continue this offensively, and they go 4-6 again, or whatever the equivalent would be for 7 games, whatever. It's just not. I just don't see it happening. And that's if they keep playing at the same level offensively, which is no guarantee.
Yeah, sorry, one sec. I'm trying to check something real quick. And then, how do you feel about the what I think the Chargers do make the playoffs? So how do you feel about their odds in a playoff game?
Chargers, I don't see them doing much. They might squeak out a game or something, but Chargers aren't accomplishing much this year in the playoffs. They if I was them, I would just be happy to be there, frankly.
Let me. Oh, interesting. So there have been 21 teams in NFL history that have made the playoffs after starting 4-6. Do you want to guess the last team to do it?
Last team to start 4-6 was it the Bengals as well?
Mm-mm. 3 teams did it last year.
Which of course they were.
I was waiting to see if you were going to guess.
No. Go
The
ahead.
Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Los Angeles Rams.
I guess that all checks out then. Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see what the last 8 games of the year have, or 7, because they haven't had their bye yet. The last 7 games of the year have for the Bengals. Any other thoughts on NFL, whether it's looking backwards or heading forwards?
Nope.
Okay. We should have some fun NFL talk next week. We've got some ideas in the works. It's kind of just a TBD, see if we can get schedules to align on things. But yeah, excited for next week's episode. Excited for this weekend of football. I love football.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever consumed this much football in a single year. And we're only like 10 weeks in.
I honestly might be in the same boat as you. If you especially if you combine college and NFL. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I
I have
watched
no doubt you're
so much
crushing
college
football.
football.
Especially
I'm
now that
crushing college football.
especially now that you're,
Oh yeah, the bit. Yeah. Go ahead.
the NBA. We had some pretty iconic performances last night. Hey, I didn't throw the flag. I kept the flag in the. I didn't even think about throwing the flag for the Amari Cooper thing earlier. So
What Amari Cooper thing?
you said
Where I said that if he steps up and he's the wide receiver that he
I'm
realistically
just, hey,
is.
if we look at your fantasy football teams, all I gotta say, I'm just playing. LeBron last night became, I believe it was the oldest player to have 3 straight triple doubles. My question for you: how much longer can this fuckery go on for?
LeBron's about to be 30. Thank God this fuckery can't go on for much longer. That's an iconic tweet.
It might never end.
Well,
It
actually,
might just never. I know you're going to point out the Shams. Yeah, I saw he supposedly said that next year could be his last year.
And hey,
But I think it's more out of. I think by saying the fuckery it can't go on much longer. It's more whenever he chooses to stop is when it will end. There won't be.
Yeah.
We won't have our Wizards MJ moment with LeBron, I think.
Well, okay, I saw a question get propositioned this week where how much longer or how long do you think LeBron could be in the NBA? Like, to what age do you think LeBron would be in the NBA? Could just like even if he's not a good contributor on an NBA team, what age do you think LeBron could play in the NBA until? Like obviously he still probably has at least 5 years of being like a
50?
genuine NBA contributor. I was gonna say like 53 or something like that.
Like, you can't tell me the last, 6-7 years of that, he's not just playing, 20 minutes a game. Like, he's just coming into, he's coming in the key moments. Like, it's just, like when you play 2K, it's like, all right, pick me up at the most important moments. Like, LeBron will just come in then.
I even think LeBron, I think LeBron could play till his mid-50s, frankly, just because even if just hear me out.
That's a long time.
I know, but even if he is not a guy who can even contribute in basketball much, even if he's like Udonis Haslem level, he could do that.
Okay, if we're talking about that, he could do that till he's 70, because he's just sit on the bench.
I don't know about 70. I think mid-50s is the.
But if we're talking about him, just basically, Udonis Haslem basically just sat there the entire time.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, it's gonna be like, all right, dude, just come on. It's not gonna be socially acceptable for him to even LeBron to be there at some point. And you're telling me come on, 60-year-old LeBron is not making an NBA roster. I'm sorry. I know I know LeBron can do whatever he wants to do. I know LeBron can be whatever he wants to be. He's the greatest at whatever he does ever. But
He's got
let's be
Bronny
so
not
honest
having
here.
to go to road South Bay Lakers games. What are we talking about here? Like, he can do whatever the heck he wants.
Yep. Hey man, if Bronny better hope LeBron's in the NBA for a while longer because as long as
Wanna
LeBron's in the NBA, Bronny has a spot.
wanna know what I hope for though? That it
What?
doesn't take Wemby until he's 30 to realize he's 7'12" and doesn't just have to shoot threes.
Hey,
Last night,
let me.
Victor Wembanyama had. I'm gonna pull up the full stats. I know it was 50 with 8 threes, I believe. Yeah, he had 50 points. He was 18 for 29 from the field. He was 8 for 6 from three. 16. Don't know why he's shooting 16 threes. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks. When is he gonna learn?
Topher, as I learned at a very young age, 3 is more than 2. And so, if Wemby, as tall as he is, can make threes at a 50% clip like that, or even like a mid 40% clip, and no one's blocking his shot, I mean, Victor Wembanyama is taller than everyone, it makes sense for him to take those shots, actually. I think there's the opposite argument, where since he's so tall, he should be shooting those shots.
He's taken. He shot 28 threes the last 2 games.
Oh my.
The last 3 games, it's what's that? 37.
So he's averaging over 12 threes a game right now. Okay.
Get your butt on the block, boy, and post up. What are we doing?
Wemby only needs to do 2 things to put the ball in the basket. Or 3. He can dunk. That's cool. He needs a little hook shot like Kareem. Get a hook shot and then shoot some threes. We don't need no middies. I'm sorry. As much as I love my mid range shots,
See,
doesn't fly anymore. Doesn't fly.
look at this. Another incredible performance last night from Joey's apparently most overrated player in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, he is not my most overrated player.
He
The
had.
Bucks are my most overrated team.
No, I'm still talking. That was disrespectful. I apologize. He had 59 points on 21 for 34 shooting. Guess how many threes he took? Because he's a reasonable person and realizes he's ginormous.
Probably 1 or 2.
He took 2, Joey. And he had 14 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks.
All right, before we go fly with this, I think Giannis is overrated narrative. He is not. Giannis is one of the best players in the league.
I was just kidding. I know you don't think he is.
It took Giannis scoring 59 points and putting up all those other absurd stats to beat the Pistons in overtime. In overtime,
barely win. Yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad.
I would like my flowers now for picking the Bucks as be overrated. Like, can we just admit at this point that I was right? Can we just admit at this point?
I didn't hear a whistle, so I'm. The cement's not dry just yet. I'm not ready to call him. No, it's too early. We're like 4 games into the year. No, we're not. We're like 12.
Hey, Cavs 13-0.
Hey, NBA, are they actually still undefeated?
13-0.
Crazy when it's a second round Eastern Conference exit.
Hey, they have a new coach this year, okay?
What's that guy's name? Oh, no, I lost it. What's his name?
Al-Farouq Aminu.
No.
Luke Richard Mbamute.
No, it's not a player. Oh, is David Blatt back? They went 83 and 40, and he got fired.
Because they had Braun. Is that our ball?
Ain't that our ball? Tyronn Lue went 23rd overall in the 98 NBA draft.
Hey, Tyronn Lue was a dog in 2K, man, back in the day. You were probably in diapers still, so you wouldn't know, but yeah, Tyronn Lue was a dog, man.
Which 2K?
2K7.
You're a year. First
He's
off, you're a year older than me, and it's just because you were still playing 2K7 in like 2013 that you remember that.
2011, but close enough, close enough.
Embiid should just like move to France, right, and just be done playing basketball, at
I'm
least in
so
the
glad.
NBA.
I'm glad someone agrees with me on this because yes, I'm sick of
Like I'm so over this guy.
I'm sick of Charmin, man. I'm so sick of Charmin.
First, he plays for the United States of America in the Olympics. Doesn't really do anything. And now he's just like, I'll play when I want.
What happened to the game I love, man? You best believe if I was on that roster there, I'd be
Wanna know what happened to the
busting
game
my
we love?
butt. 82 games. 82 games.
We now have guys like Victor Wembanyama shooting 43s a game. He's 7'4". It wouldn't be crazy to say that Victor Wembanyama would be. He's already gonna be like one of the best basketball players to ever live, but he would be like the best to ever live if he played in like the 90s.
If you
Just
played
because
the not,
he would have played normally, like a normal person that 7'4" would.
he couldn't have handled the physicality of the 90s. They would have bullied him. Charles Barkley would have out-rebounded him by 20 every game.
Charles
No.
Barkley's my height. What are we talking about?
Yeah, no, it's. I think Wembanyama was at the perfect time for him, to be honest, just because I don't
Stop
know.
shooting so many threes. That's it.
If you go 8 for 16 from 3, shoot more threes.
Oh my
Heck.
gosh. No, less threes. So many less threes. So I gotta pull it up because I'm on NFL. No more threes. You can take like 6.
If you're shooting 50% from 3, you best believe I'm making you shoot more threes. I mean, are you kidding me? He's not gonna shoot 53% from 3 every game though. I will make that clear.
It's like we're gonna start talking about Zach Edey taking 5 threes a game.
Yeah, is that
Guess what? Wembanyama shot from 3 last year.
32%.
How did you know that? Have we talked about that before?
Nope.
You gotta be that. You gotta be capping.
I have a bag, man. People don't know how deep my
What's
bag
he
is.
shooting from 3 this year?
43%.
No, he's shooting 34% because he can't shoot threes.
Dang it. Man, I was hoping I'd snipe that. 34%.
You could probably shoot better than that.
We should have that. Someone should give me a chance so we can find that out. I've been hitting the gym. I've been getting stronger. I'm just waiting for my opportunity with an NBA team.
Over the first 9 games of the season, he shot 22% from 3. He's seen an uptick the last 3 games in which he shot like 50%. What's been going on in college sports?
College sports have been crazy. Obviously, college basketball is just starting up, but we're not going to get too much into that yet, just because.
So Cooper Flag's a bust, right? Like it's just cook him.
No, but that kid from Wisconsin, Colin Knuppel, is a dog. He's going to go very high in the draft. Let's see. College football, though. That's what the people want to hear about. We're getting to the nitty gritty of the college football season. College football playoff rankings are coming out, and a lot of casuals are sitting here thinking it's bad that Indiana is ranked as high as they are. Indiana is an undefeated team. People think that Georgia should be in the playoffs right now over them, and that if you put Indiana over Georgia, it's rewarding teams who schedule weak. You got to win some games. Georgia has 2 losses. What are you talking about? Indiana should be ahead of them. Indiana's undefeated. Until Indiana possibly gets blown out by Ohio State. But I don't think they're going to get blown out, to be honest. It should not be the case. Like, you have to reward winning as well. And this SEC bias makes me sick to my stomach.
That was what I was gonna say. Big Ten's definitely better than the SEC this year, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like, I think it's just people like inherit like it's the they do it different down there. It's the SEC. Blah blah blah. No, it's the Big Ten's better now, right?
Just because
probably
yeah, go ahead.
Probably the two best teams in the country, the Big Ten.
Ohio State and Oregon are the two best teams in the country right now. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Texas is maybe up there as well, but we'll see. They still have to play some games. But I mean,
they lost to Alabama. No, they lost to Georgia.
Texas's highest team GPA in school history is 2.8, and they posted about that on Instagram. So you want to sit here and tell me that they should be ahead of some of these teams? No. Indiana has become school business at it. They're going to play school at Indiana. They're going to be work harder, work smarter, and go out there and be better coached than any other team in the SEC, because the SEC guys, they just go out there and they run. And then they try to out-athlete you. Well, it's either out-athlete in the SEC or outsmart in the Big Ten. And the Big Ten is going to outsmart the SEC yet again this year, and they're going to be the national champ. Sorry, I'm very passionate about Big Ten over SEC.
Is my Ole Miss going to make the college football playoff?
They are in as of right now after their win this past week. So, they got a shot.
I think I said Oregon was the other team I said too.
Probably.
I'm looking pretty good. I nailed this.
You know, I think that we have to give more credit to somebody who, I think after 4 weeks, or after 4 games of the college football season, said that Indiana or another team...
Yeah, you've said it a couple of times. Playoff. Yeah.
Indiana's going to be a college football playoff team as long as they don't lose to Ohio State and Purdue. If they go 11-1, they're in the college football playoff. Simple as that. So, I like my flowers for that as well.
You deserve it. Didn't you also say you thought Rutgers was going to go...
I thought they were going to win 10 games.
What's their record?
They are 6-4, I believe.
Okay, so not going to get to 10, but...
They're not going to get to 10. I was wrong on that. They also just have been absolute embarrassment. They had a tough stretch there. I'll accept defeat on that one. That's okay. Bad.
That's okay.
That's about it, though.
Okay. I'm looking forward. Did you have the Duke coach on your men's head coaching college hot seat?
Manny Diaz?
No, the Duke men's head coach. Basketball. Didn't you just make a NCAA?
College football hot seat.
Oh, I thought you made basketball.
John Shire would not be on the hot seat, though.
You don't think so?
I think he's okay right now. I think if he's a year... if they really, really crap the bed this year and miss the NCAA tournament, then we can talk, but they're not missing the NCAA tournament this year. I think he's a year away from realistically, if they just make the round of 32, be on the hot. I think he's got another year or two of just like a little bit of great, because he's been recruiting so well still too.
Yeah, sure. That's fair. Boy of the week. I don't know about you, Joe, but this person holds a particularly special place in my heart.
Yeah?
Would you agree? Do they hold a special place in your heart at all? It's Andrew Luck. And I know we're not, this isn't exactly as random as we've gone in years past, but just the other day I was just sitting there. I can't remember what led me. I think I just looked at Andrew Luck and I was like, man. You know?
I 100% know. And I just want to tell a quick story about a connection I have with Andrew Luck, right? So, growing up, right, the Browns were abysmal. So I had like a somewhat decent team to root for, right? And my second team, I've been very clear about this, is the Indianapolis Colts. So I had a lot of Colts stuff growing up. I was a Peyton Manning guy, and then they were bad, and then those first couple years with Andrew Luck were electric, man. Those were electric years. It was just fantastic. He was a great player, and he was like just a guy you want to root for, right? And then I'll never forget. It's August of 2019. Joey Bresky is a freshman at Indiana University in Bloomington. I'd been there for just a couple days at that point, just had moved in. And I get a call from my dad, and he's like, "Hey, did you see Andrew Luck just retired?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? Andrew Luck just retired. And then just all over campus, people are just, they're shocked about Andrew Luck retiring. All these guys are just like, you can tell they're heartbroken because there's a lot of Indiana kids there.
Wasn't it his shoulder
Andrew
that
Luck's,
finally did it?
I believe so,
back.
yes. It's something like that. But anyways, big Andrew Luck guy. And he does, without that holy special place in my heart. And it's sad. The point for the story was it's just sad that he went out the way he did and didn't get more of his flowers and didn't get to go out the correct way because the Colts couldn't protect him, basically.
Yeah, he got kind of beat up on the earlier, but I mean that dude. Even I don't know if you've even when the last time you looked at his the last year of his career. Oh my god, he had the best year of his career in 2018. He threw for 4,500 yards, 39 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He had a 16.7 completion percentage. And I'll tell a story now. That was one of the more formative moments of my life. I have to go back to find the correct year that I'm looking for. No, it wasn't this year. I'm in the previous season. I was in the car with my dad and my little brother. All right, it's January. It's wild card weekend. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but this was back when obviously I in 2014, January of 2014. So I would have been 11, and obviously don't have a phone. Like I'm not. We're not watching the game. This wasn't I don't even know if my dad had a smartphone at the time, but we're not watching the game. So we're driving around the Chicagoland area. I think we were going on a Cub Scout trip to spend the night on a submarine.
Okay.
And
okay.
The Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing in a wild card game. Do you remember the game that I'm talking about?
Of course I do.
And early in the third quarter, the Colts go down 13-10. And then we're just sitting there on the radio and we're just sitting there listening and then it's just oh, Colts scored a touchdown. It's oh, they scored another. Then before you know it, they're just back in the game. We got Kobe Fleener catching touchdown passes.
Beast.
And T.Y. Hilton.
Beast.
And the Indianapolis Colts come storming back to win 45-44. And I honestly think my love for football was born that day. Because
yeah, go ahead.
It was a crazy time.
It was a fantastic game. I believe it was the divisional round that happened, actually.
No, wild card. I'm looking at it.
Really, it was wild card?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember the magic of that season coming to an abrupt end then with Deflategate.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, man.
It was snowing. It was late. It was dark. We were just sitting there in the car just listening to Colts Chiefs.
And those are some of the best things, on ESPN 1000 or whatever sports radio you listen to, just hearing the play-by-play for those games when you're in the car with your dad, driving back from sports practice, various place, or driving somewhere cool. Those great moments, and that game was just a special game, man. That was a special game.
Some of these stat lines from this game. Alex Smith, 30 for 46 for 378 yards and 4 touchdowns. What is this? Dwayne Bowe, 8 catches, 150 yards and a touchdown. Andrew Luck was 29 for 45 for 443, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. And I think he had another like fumble recovery touchdown.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton, 13 catches, 224 yards, and a touchdown.
Yep. Dogs.
Isn't this game just the best? I mean, you get moments like that, and it's just like, ugh. You can't write that stuff. Doesn't even happen in books. Like it's
Second most magical sport out there.
What are you gonna say is the first?
Division III men's cross country.
Damn right it is.
Doesn't get much better than that. Does not get any better.
Birds are headed up to Northfield, Minnesota this weekend. We're looking to make some history. Let's just say that. You got any final thoughts from me, Jobo?
You know, I just want to say, if you've listened to this point somehow, some way, thank you for all the support. Make sure to like the podcast if you're on YouTube, follow us if you're on Spotify, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Check out all our other socials, which will be links. We're going to put out some more content, especially now on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, we have been doing a lot with the TikTok and YouTube, so just keep supporting. We appreciate it, and we'll have some more content coming your way. And you know, the bigger we make this thing, the better the content's just gonna get. And I have a lot of fantastic ideas. So any support would help make those possible. So thank you.
Yeah, Joey hit all the points that made the most sense. For talking about what you guys can do for us, and just let us know what you guys want to see. Is this dead? Oh, the light turned off, so I was confused. Dak Prescott, unfortunately, sounds like he's done for the year. Tied my wagon to him, and unfortunately, we lost both tires and the curtain on top. So, hoping to rebuild that in the 2025 campaign, hopefully with a new head coach. Hey, maybe Chuck Pagano wants to get back into coaching.
No shot.
Yeah, probably not. Bruce Arians, probably not either. Juan Soto's a Red Sox. It's just, I don't make the rules. Hey, the reports, they're meeting with him today, and he's at the top of their wish list, and they're willing to spend, baby. Blank check.
So the Red Sox want the best player available? No way.
See, they didn't. We don't need to get into their. They traded away like the third best player in the MLB 6 years ago. So we. Just because you're a sorry franchise doesn't mean you need to take it out on me.
We made the conference championship, or the whatever you want to call it, league championship.
And you took that.
Your mic cut out there, and I'm happy it did, because that was really funny just seeing you not be able to I can't even hear you at all now. Let's go. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. It has been a fantastic episode, and we'll see you next week. Go Boyos. Still can't hear him.